countdown for blast-off. X minus 5, 4, 3, 2, X minus 1, fire.
Repeating the bulletin from a moment ago, the thief has struck once again. The thief, who some are calling the Bad News Bandit, struck again in the Marsh subdivision of Silver Crest. This makes 4 break-ins during the last 5 evenings. Even with patrols and citizens' watch, the thief somehow is able to enter a home without being detected, pilfer an abundance of electronic equipment, and leave without anyone seeing a thing. No footprints are found at the scene, no signs of forced entry. Any citizen with any knowledge of these events, or who is perpetrating them, is asked to call Waterford police immediately. There is currently a $500 reward for information leading to the arrest of the person or persons responsible.
Radio off. Unbelievable. A cat burglar operating so close to our homes. Why doesn't anyone see or hear nothing? That area is being watched day and night by at least 20 sets of eyes, and yet it's almost as if...
Bunson, are you still listening to that radio? We've got all these neighbors' children to look after while they are on patrol for that burglar. We don't have time to be sitting around. We've got half a dozen children and more, and they're all waiting for lunch. At the very least, you could entertain them while I'm preparing their peanut butter and jelly sandwiches.
I know, Jenny. I was just catching up on the latest news flash about the burglar. The police are still in the dark as ever. It's a total mystery. Nobody knows what's going on with this series of break-ins. It just don't seem possible for a man to do what's being done.
Yours is a fine one to talk about impossible, my dear. After all you've been through, you should know better than anyone what is and what isn't possible. If I'd been through all you have, I'd probably believe that just about anything could and would happen. Nothing would feel impossible.
Yeah, that's just what bugs me about all this. It just seems weird that there is no trace of a presence in the homes that are being broken into. Normally, that would seem impossible, but yeah, after all I done did, it's not how, but who.
Don't you go off on suspecting Captain M.T. again. We have it on good authority that he hasn't left Mervin's house since Ariel trapped him there. Whoever is doing this, it isn't him.
Yeah, but with him in town, I have to keep my sights on him. There is no telling what little setups he's got in case of emergencies. I don't trust him. No, not one bit.
Bunson, is there something more going on that you're not letting on? This isn't just about some sneaking burglar, is it? I've known you longer than anyone. I know when something is preying on your thoughts.
Yeah, I guess something is on my mind. For the last year plus, I've been going to and fro from dimension to dimension, saving the entire universe as it were. I guess readjusting to a normal life ain't as easy as I thought it would be. Don't get me wrong, I love the quiet. I love having you back. I love that everything worked out so well. I guess I'm just...
You're restless is what you are. Watching over a flock of kids might be a draining afternoon for some. But as you say, when you're used to talking with interdimensional beings and transporting through time, babysitting duty leaves something to be desired.
That's part of it, Ginny. A big part of it, no doubt. But not all of it. I just have this nagging feeling. Unanswered questions, loose ends, things that I need absolution with. But since the communicator is gone, I cannot contact Commander Swirly. Once the explosion sealed the rift between dimensions, I can't even contact Ariel or the giant mutant monster beast. Now, we have a mysterious intruder who walks through walls and leaves no trace. And I have to wonder, Jenny, I'm really wondering, what if this mystery person is another loose end of mine? Just as you suffered as Virgil all that time, what if there are others out there who are suffering because of my hubris? The sea geese, the transporter, M.T. The only one around I can ask about this stuff is Orville, Captain M.T. And you know him, he won't talk one word so long as he's a prisoner. A small price to pay, I guess, my peace of mind. Even though Ariel and I are no longer in contact, at least the wall she erected, imprisoning M.T., is still in place. I just wish I knew, for sure, that everything is really over, you know?
I know, my darling. I wish I could offer words of comfort, but I'm afraid this is something you'll have to deal with over time. As you always say, what is meant to be will be. If you are meant to know the answers to your questions, you'll learn them. Have faith in what you've learned, Bunson. Have faith in what you know is true. Until such a time as you do find that peace, why don't you get out of here for a while? Get your mind off things. It's been ages since you last checked in on Mervyn, Captain M.T. and his mother. Why don't you go over there for a bit? Maybe seeing Captain M.T. still in check will relieve fears of the future. Seeing him still matching wits with Mervyn has always distracted you in the past.
Those two. Why, I don't know how anyone could observe them without forgetting everything going on in their head. Those two are quite the pair, ain't they? I've no idea what they talking about all that time, but just hearing one of their arguments is enough to make me smile. It figures. Mervyn finally makes a new friend, and he's the most evil creation ever created. That's fate for you.
All right, you go back and check on them, and I'll tend to these young ones. Have a good time, my darling little bear.
You's the only one who can get away with calling me that. You know that, right? How'd I ever get so lucky to get you back?
Luck had nothing to do with it. You got me back because you're a good soul who was rewarded for a job well done. Now I got lots of work to get these tykes their lunch. Be off with ya. But not too long. Remember, your parents are taking us out to dinner tonight.
All right, my dearest, I'll be back before you can say Jack Robinson. Only don't say it for a few hours.
All right. Now for you little gremlins. Aggie, can you finish up the children's sandwiches? It's story time, and these little ones won't eat a bit without something to keep their minds off the television. In this house, little ones, the theater you're used to seeing on television is one that exists within yourselves. Too many parents these days use television as a babysitter. Well, that's a mistake this real babysitter won't be making. While Aggie finishes up your sandwiches and milk, I've got a story to tell you. It's one especially important to the little girls here, but one important to the boys as well. You see, there's a danger in this world, like the one you keep hearing about, the burglar. Only there are others out there who, like the burglar, are very bad people. You must watch out for these strangers and the danger they present to you. They may say things that sound wonderful. They may offer you things to make you like them. They may even come up to you and tell you bad news, hoping to get you to trust them, go off with them. All these people, my dears, are up to no good. They only have wicked thoughts day and night. And if you remember anything of this day, let it be this. If you don't know someone, don't listen to them. Don't trust them. Never go with them. If a person is a stranger, my little tykes, they are a danger.
I'm Norma Neufner, policewoman, attached to the Juvenile Division. I'm on a call from a very worried mother whose daughter is missing. Her daughter's name is Judy Miller. Judy enjoyed babysitting, but there weren't enough jobs among the people she knew, so she decided to advertise at the supermarket for extra work. Late the following afternoon, the phone rang, and Judy was offered a job for that evening. The man told her he and his wife were going out to dinner and that their regular could he pick her up in 15 minutes. Judy's mother hadn't returned when it was time to go, so she left a message by the telephone. When her mother came home, she found Judy's note and called the number to let Judy know she was home in case she wanted anything. A woman answered, but she didn't know anything about Judy and told Mrs. Miller she must have the wrong number. By midnight, Mrs. Miller was really worried. She phoned the police and was transferred to juvenile. I took the necessary information and assured her we'd do everything we could. She'd have to try to be patient and wait. The waiting lasted almost a week. Then the report came in. Judy's body had been found on a lonely desert road. The most difficult part of my job is bringing bad news to parents. You can never find the right words to tell a mother her daughter has been murdered. Judy hadn't done anything wrong, she'd only been careless. Careless about whom she'd trusted. In itself, there'd been nothing wrong about advertising for a job, but it led her to trusting a person she knew nothing about. A mentally sick person who used her innocent ad as an introduction to his act of violence. Being safe is often no more than applying good judgment in everyday life. One night while Barbara was babysitting, the doorbell rang. She didn't open the door, but called and asked who it was. A stranger said his car had broken down and could he use the phone. Barbara was very polite, but she told him she was babysitting and expecting a call from her parents. However, she was sure the next-door neighbors were home and perhaps he could use their phone. The stranger thanked her and left. Now, Barbara had been polite and helpful, but she hadn't taken any chances, and when her father called, she was safe. Friday night was movie time for Sally and Elizabeth. Their parents alternated weeks taking them and picking them up. Friendships are easily made in a crowded theater, and when two older boys struck up a conversation and moved next to them, they were secretly pleased. At intermission, Sally found it flattering to have her friends see her in the company of older boys, and when they asked if they could take the girls home, she was all for it. She asked Elizabeth to call her folks and tell them that they could ride with a friend's parents. Elizabeth was tempted, but decided it wouldn't be right, and Sally was disappointed. When the show was over and they were leaving, the boys suggested that if Elizabeth couldn't go with them, why didn't Sally come? Sally thought it was a great idea and asked Elizabeth to tell her folks that her parents had picked her up. Elizabeth didn't like the idea, but Sally insisted. So, Elizabeth left alone. Not any of the boys she went with had a car, so it was fun riding with the older fellows. But when they drove right past her house, she became concerned. When they arrived at Lookout Peak, she was frightened. She tried to convince herself there was nothing to worry about, but when they parked off the road, she knew she had gotten herself into something she couldn't handle. At midnight, her parents became alarmed and called the Nelsons. Yes, Elizabeth was home. Hadn't they picked up Sally? No, over an hour ago. Of course she could talk to Elizabeth. Between guilty tears, Elizabeth told what had happened. Sally had been found, dazedly walking down the road from Lookout Peak. It was a night they'll long remember. In fact, Sally may never be able to forget it. Often seemingly innocent places can turn out to be just where wrong associations are made. Mary met Robert at just such a place. Robert frequented the malt shop in his spare time, which was considerable, as he'd finished high school and didn't work. Here he sought out the company of younger teenagers because he wasn't accepted by those of his own age group. Mary and her girlfriend could always be found at the malt shop after school. Mary had seen Robert before and thought he was very good looking, so she was naturally flattered when he singled her out and struck up a friendly conversation. He was fun to talk to, and they discussed everything from cars to movie stars. When he offered her a ride home, she was only too happy to accept. They drove around for a while and talked. Mary was a good listener, and Bob enjoyed nothing more than talking about himself. Mary knew her mother would be upset if she came home with an older boy, so Bob dropped her at the corner. After that, they saw a good deal of each other. At first, Bob was willing to see her at the malt shop, but as time went on, he became jealous of her friends and insisted on their spending more time alone. They began to go to secluded places, and their relationship became more intimate. Mary knew things were getting out of hand because Bob became more and more demanding, but not wishing to lose his friendship or the prestige she enjoyed from her friends for having an older boyfriend, she complied with his desire. Then Mary found she was in trouble and had to tell her parents. But now it was too late for advice, and Mary had to be taken out of school and placed under the guidance of juvenile authorities. Unfortunately, Mary's story is not an unusual one. Too many young girls are flattered by the attention of older boys and don't realize until too late that these boys, who cannot compete in their own age group, are often not well adjusted and will demand too much in a relationship with a younger girl. You see, it's often the things that are done without thinking that get young people into trouble. Trying to move too quickly into a world of grown-ups with a young person's faith often cause heartache and disaster.
As you get older, girls, you'll meet men who, unlike Bunson, do not have respect for others, or even for themselves. Look around. Look at the boys here. You like them, don't you? As you should. The boys here are good. They're decent little guys. They would never think of hurting you. You play with them all the time. You go over to their houses. You know their parents. In short, you trust them. Just as you trust these little guys, there are those you shouldn't trust. Those you don't know, those who are older, those who may just give you a weird feeling being around. What I'm trying to say, perhaps not so well, I've never been much of a talker, but what I hope you get out of this, not just the girls, but the boys too, is that if you are in a setting like this, where there are adults around that you trust, or teenagers, or people your own age, if you know them and trust them, and then someone new comes into my home and is set before you, it's okay to trust them. Because here, or in your home or in the home of your friends, you are around those who care for you. You are in a setting you trust, understand? But let's say you were in a park, or a playground, or a movie theater, or a theme park, or skating, any number of these places where you aren't familiar with the place or the people there. While you're there, be careful who you talk to. If you see a friend and their parents, they are fine to talk with. But if someone you never have seen before approaches you and tries to get you to talk, or take you with them, I want you, all of you, to just say one thing to them, and nothing else, okay? Just say your mom doesn't let you talk to strangers. Then be sure to find an adult you trust and go to them. In these situations, it's better to be safe than sorry. Most people are okay, but in this world, there's no way to know for sure. So if someone you don't know approaches you, just tell them your mom doesn't allow you to talk to strangers, okay?
Say, boys and girls, I'd like to show you this wonderful Mary Hartline magic doll that the Kellogg folks have for you. See? She looks just like me. She's made out of sturdy plastic board, 1/8 of an inch thick, stands 9 inches high in her own plastic stand, and she comes in true to life color. But the most wonderful thing about this magic doll is she really is magic. You just cut out one of these cute costumes, slide it back and forth a couple of times like this, and the costume will stick right on magically. No taps, no paste. And with the magic doll, you get 10 beautiful true color outfits. Everything from shorts to a beautiful pink formal. Why, even 2 of my own Super Circus costumes.
And kids, you can get this terrific Mary Hartline magic doll just by sending in 25 cents in coin and a box top from Kellogg's Sugar Smacks or Kellogg's Sugar Frosted Flakes. Use the handy order blank on the package or send direct to Mary Hartline Doll, Box 313, Battle Creek, Michigan. That's Mary Hartline Magic Doll, Box 313, Battle Creek, Michigan. That's the prettiest cutout doll ever and such fun to play with. So send for your Mary Hartline Magic Doll right away.
Once there was a glamorous movie star who did the most marvelous things. A little girl named Shirley Temple. She had a pony to play with, drove her own car. She was so beautiful, Ideal has made a doll that looks just like her, a Shirley Temple doll. Same dimples, same golden curls you can really shampoo. And when you kiss her, her skin feels almost real. Your Shirley Temple doll comes all dressed up and just loves to have tea parties with her very own Shirley Temple tea set. Wouldn't you like to have a Shirley Temple doll? You can. She's waiting for you at your favorite toy store, along with the Shirley Temple tea set with Shirley Temple's picture or monogram on every piece.
She's a wonderful doll. She's ideal.
Yes, it does, Marvin. It does, it does, it does. How can someone as smart as you possibly be so stupid? You've no idea what is on the blue ball of dirt that you call home. If I say something is here, then it is here, darn it. Why would I make up something like this? It's only your lack of vision that would lead you to believe that such things can't really exist. That does it. Why should I go on talking to a colossal moron like you? At least if I were talking to a real raccoon, I'd know that it contributes something to this world by eating garbage, not spout it like you do day and night. This does it. I'm going into the basement where I can be with better companionship. By that, I mean I can be alone. Marvin, what was all that about? I ain't ever seen Orville so angry. What'd you say to set him off like that? Slows down a bit. You's know I's only learning Raccoonese. You gotta slow down, so I can pick out a few words I's actually remember learning. He what? Said what existed? That's ridiculous. That's an old wives' tale. Such things? No. I's never even heard that rumor was true. It's just one of those things mamas tells their kids to get them to dress right for church on Sunday mornings. Then what set Orville off like that? He what? He actually believes it exists? Why, what's his proof? Well, you know, Mervyn, I hate to play devil's advocate here, but Orville, Captain M.T, does know certain things about things. He may be right. Now, don't get so upset at me. I'm just saying that if there was one person on this planet who would know that the legend was true, it would be Orville. Why would he lie about it? For what reason? So that leaves us with the possibility that the cloak of hidden beauty actually exists. What? Who? No, absolutely not, Mervyn. There is no way on heaven or on earth that you're getting me to go. No, Mervyn, I ain't doing it. Absolutely not. Never again. You remember the last... No way, not again. There is nothing you can say or do that would make me subject myself to... Mervyn, be reasonable. You know what he's like. He's uncouth. He's disgusting. He's revolting. I will not approach Ali, much less get into a philosophical argument, a possibly prolonged philosophical argument about the existence of something that is probably just fiction. Have a heart, Mervyn. Why can't you go see Ali yourself? He's your friend after all. All right. Settle down. Mervyn, please. This is very unbecoming. Please, just quiet down. All right, I'll go see Ali. Don't you ever say again that I've never done you any favors, Mervyn. This one act counts as 10 favors. You know what Ali is like. He's disgusting. He's a kid whose ma never taught him anything about etiquette. As a matter of fact, after the few exposures I've had to Ali, I felt the need to shower afterward. The kid is just plain, out and out, gross. That may be, but at least I say excuse me afterwards. Mervyn, you beat everything. You know that, absolutely everything. If I's got to do this, I's not going to suffer alone. I'll swing by Lazar's house and see if he'll tag along. Lazar's the only one who can get Ali to stop everything. Mervyn, you just done beat all.